What's going on, guys? This is the ElectricVideoGamer, and it's late. I'm tired. I'm not tired enough to go to sleep yet, so I thought I'd talk about my thoughts on day one of E3. This is Sunday, June the 10th. So we're talking Xbox's conference, Bethesda's conference, and by association Devolver Digital's as well. I know EA's was on the 9th, but who cares? EA's, even if I wanted to, it was so bad. It was terrible, so don't even worry about it. Negative 10 out of 10. There's EA's grade. Alright. So, actually, I'll give them 2. I'll give them 2 out of 10. Solely for the fact that Unravel 2 is the thing. That's it. I'll give them that. 2 out of 10. Everything else they showed was trash. Anyway, so let's talk about what I want to talk about. So we'll start with Xbox. And Xbox's conference blew me away. I was kind of in a bad mood starting out because of personal reasons. But after getting into Xbox's conference, I went in expecting nothing. Because after the last few Xbox rounds and of course the lack of any exclusives, it didn't seem like Xbox was going to pull anything really special. And then they dropped the big stuff. A lot of their stuff is not exclusive, sure, but it's the first time we've seen quite a bit of it. Man, I gotta tell you, I know Roger's Base. If you know Roger's Base, I know he's really happy about seeing some more Kingdom Hearts 3, especially the Frozen world, because he's been wanting that Elsa, so good on him. I know nothing about Kingdom Hearts. I wouldn't mind getting into it, but I'm gonna need those compilations on Switch, Square Enix, okay? Speaking of Square Enix, Captain Spirit, the spin-off of Life is Strange, that looks interesting. I've always wanted to kind of play a game where you're interacting as a kid with a big imagination, and you go into his imagination with these imaginary worlds and do imaginary things, you know, stuck in his head essentially. That's enchanting, and I like that. And I think that'll be a really fun game to pick up, so I might have some fun with that. Other big hits, I mean, of course, when you're talking Xbox, you gotta talk Halo. Halo Infinite. They announced that was their big first announcement, and rightfully deserved, because yeah, it seems like it's going to be pretty interesting. Seeing the return of Master Chief, of course, is awesome, as always, but yeah, it seems like it's going to be cool. Not something I'm too into, because I never really got into the Halo series, although I do know about it. Thank you, Stephen Plays. I appreciate your Let's Plays. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it'd be cool. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, beautiful. Looks absolutely stunning. I'm super excited for that. There was a FromSoft game that they showed off, which at first was thought to be Bloodborne 2, or Dishonored 2, I think it was. No, it was Bloodborne. It was at first thought to be Bloodborne 2. Turns out it was Shadows Die Twice. I forget what the full name is, but the subtitle is Shadows Die Twice, so I'm just calling it that. And that seems interesting. But what really caught my attention, what really got me hooked into this conference, there were quite a few announcements, but there were 2 that stand out in my mind completely. And that is Jump Force, which looked doggone beautiful. As soon as I saw the Frieza ship, I knew, wait, this is Dragon Ball. And then I saw Naruto and Luffy, and I'm like, no, this is all of them in Shonen Jump. Oh my gosh, Naruto and Luffy are fighting Frieza. What is this? What is this miracle game? And I was hooked. I am so into Jump Force. I want Jump Force so bad. Just give me Fist of the North Star, give me Gintama, and give me My Hero Academia. And it's done. Day one. Day one done, okay? Bummer it's not on Switch. I thought it was a shoo-in because it looks like it plays very similarly to the Dragon Ball Xenoverse series. So I kind of thought it was a shoo-in, but the graphics should have clued me into otherwise. And, you know, when they did an interview with the developer, he pretty much, when they asked about a Switch version, he pretty much just flat out said no. So, it's a bummer. But like with a lot of Bandai Namco stuff, I think it's just going to be a matter of time. It'll probably be a long while, though, so I'll just pick it up on PlayStation, honestly. Because, you know, I'm waiting for Fighter Z. For a game like Jump Force, I don't think I'll wait. On the flip side, there is an exclusive game. This is the second game that got me super excited. And it's an Xbox exclusive that may actually drive me to purchase an Xbox depending on how it looks. And that is a brand new Battletoads. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe they announced a brand new Battletoads. I flipped my lid. That is amazing. I mean, the fact that I get to be Zitz, Pimple, and dang, I forgot the last one. Rash, Zitz, and Pimple in 2019. You can't see what I'm doing right now, but it's making an okay sign, which is what I usually do when I say stuff like choice. But yeah, those were the two announcements that really got me into it, and there were some minor ones too. They also announced Devil May Cry 5 in this presentation, which we're sure is going to be multi-plat, but again, it first showed up here, which gives Xbox quite a few points in my book. On top of that, they also showed the next Gears of War game, Gears of War 5, or Gears 5, which I believe is slated for either early next year or very late this year. I cannot remember, but I think it's early next year. But Gears 5, man, it looks like it's very story heavy. And I've always been kind of intrigued in the Gears of War characters because I keep hearing things about them. And every time I see a trailer, it's the characters that kind of draw me in. Kind of like how Overwatch works. But I think Gears is a lot more single player focused anyway of a series. I don't know for sure, but it definitely seems interesting. So I might keep my eye on Gears 5. And then of course they announced the Gears Tactics on PC and that funny reveal for the mobile game, Funko Gears. Gears Funko Pop. That, I can imagine so many people getting upset by that. I don't think they should be docked points for announcing that and trolling people. I think they should add points to that. I'm adding points to that. Because that was funny. That was just really funny. I'm like, Funko Pop? What is this? This is just some cheap average. No, this is an actual game. Okay. Then they showed Gears Tactics and Gears 5. I'm like, okay, they're doing fine. It's kind of like how they did with Pokemon, which is why I'm a lot more forgiving of it, because I like how they did that with Pokemon as well. So it's fine. It's perfectly fine to me. Honestly, yeah, Xbox had some great stuff. The problem was that not much of it was exclusive, and there's only one of said exclusives that would even make me consider getting an Xbox, which was Battletoads. I think they're going to have to step it up a bit more, but with the announcement that they've acquired some more studios for first-party games, I think they're really on the right track. So what I've seen here is a really promising beginning, this E3 for Xbox. A really promising beginning. The problem is, for a lot of people, it may be too little too late, especially since they also announced they're working on the next generation. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But between Battletoads and Sunset Overdrive, which I've always been interested in, since it was announced when the Xbox, before the Xbox One came out, and I suppose Gears and Forza, of course, because I love Forza. I love the Forza series. They're some of the best racers out there that aren't, you know, weaponized attack racers like Sega All-Stars and Mario Kart. But yeah, yeah. What would I grade the Xbox conference? I'd say a solid 7.5 out of 10. because their announcements were good. They debuted a bunch of games that were awesome, but there wasn't enough to pull me into buying an Xbox. At least not yet. It's a good start. It's a very strong, very good start. But it's still not enough to get me to buy an Xbox. So we'll see how it goes. So moving on to Bethesda, and Bethesda's conference was pretty good. Speaking as someone from the outside who doesn't really play a lot of Bethesda's games, it seemed pretty... A lot of the stuff they talked about was pretty interesting. They went into a deep dive on Fallout 76, which comes out at the end of the year, which kind of surprised me, honestly. I didn't think it would come out at the end of the year, but that's pretty cool. And Fallout 76 seems like a fun little game. Of course, it being always online isn't exactly preferable, especially since I like single player games the most. But it seems like, honestly, it reminds me of a cross between, like, what would I say? When you're attacking each other, I would say it seems like a cross between like a Star Wars Battlefront game and Monster Hunter, which honestly sounds pretty legit when you think about it, and it did look pretty fun. That being said, it's, again, none of the Bethesda games are really something I'm into, but going by what people have been wanting and expecting and wanting to see, it seems everything they've shown has been pretty good. Rage 2 looks really fun. Like, that is actually something I'm interested in playing. Doom 2 has been announced as Doom Eternal, which I wasn't exactly expecting, but it's very interesting, and I think people are going to be pretty excited about that. Of course, I don't do anything about the demons and stuff, like Devil May Cry, which they announced to the Xbox One, and all that. But I can see people being really excited for that. Talking about Quake Champions, I think it was called, which is their well, not MOBA, but their online game, essentially. Seems alright. I mean, it's not something for me, really. And then there were, after Fallout 76, they announced Fallout Shelter coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch. So there's our Nintendo Switch Fallout game, I guess. It's funny, we've made all these predictions. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. Nope, just the mobile Fallout Shelter. Alright. I mean, I was never into Fallout anyway. I probably wouldn't have played Fallout, any of them, if they came to Switch. This one's free at least, so I can at least try it out. Which is honestly, for me, as an outsider looking in, best case scenario. So there you go. And then the big announcements, which were teasers, Metroid, a la Metroid Prime 4 style, for Starfield, their brand new IP Starfield, and the title that people have been asking for a long time, The Elder Scrolls 6. Whew! I know people were so excited for that, and I can understand why. Todd Howard also brought it in this conference. Like, seriously. He started out with what console we're porting Skyrim to, and he had Jordan Peele up there talking about, oh, I'm going to play on my Amazon Fire, and now it's on pagers and refrigerators. They know the memes. They all know the memes. This proves that every single developer knows the memes at this point. So, honestly, they hear us. This is proof that they hear us. This is proof that they listen to us, even when we don't want them to. So, I guess people more or less have a right to complain when they don't get what they want. I don't know. Sometimes the creators just lose their touch. That's all it's showing to us at this point. Not so much that they're not listening, just that they don't know what to do. Ah, well. Nevertheless, Bethesda brought it. Todd Howard really, really made that conference. The earlier parts could have been better, but Todd Howard, as soon as Todd Howard walked on the stage, bananas. That was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. I give Bethesda an 8 out of 10. I give Bethesda an 8 out of 10 for their conference. It was very solid. Some good titles were announced. Not every single one that they announced was leaked, which is a good thing. And of course, you know, just like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon last year brought up points for Nintendo, I will say that Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield brought up points for Bethesda. I'm not someone who, you know, like, keeps them back for that, holds them back for that. Because it's like, it's a confirmation of something we know we wanted. That's the thing. Okay. Moving on. There's one more. And that is Devolver Digital. My goodness. Devolver Digital, first of all, making fun of everyone. Making fun of microtransactions. Making fun of ports from older systems. Making fun of classic consoles. Making fun of talking statistics. Man, Devolver Digital really brings it, honestly, in their comedy. But they only showed 3 games. They only showed 3 games, though. And I'd say they were pretty interesting. I can't for the life of me remember the first one, honestly. I'm trying to bring it up in my head right now. About to look it up while I continue talking. But the other 2 games were certainly interesting. There was, of course, the big one at the very end. I wanted to save this for the end, but I can't remember the name of the second one either. I know what it was, but I can't remember the name. Metal Wolf Chaos getting a special edition coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I think later this year or next year. I don't remember. Later this year. Okay. I'm looking at some Game Informer news now. So yes, coming later this year. That is awesome. And then of course, the other games. Of course, it sucks that it's not coming to Switch, Metal Wolf Chaos, because Proton John talks about it a lot, and it does seem like it's fun, but, I mean, what can you do? But it's all good. So, yeah, Metal Wolf Chaos is coming. We've also got My Friend Pedro. That's what the game is called. So, My Friend Pedro is a game about... is a game from Devolver Digital about this guy in a mask that's just walking around dancing and shooting everyone, pretty much. He also has a banana for some reason, which I don't know. That's pretty much all Devolver Digital is. I don't know. But that's coming exclusively to Switch and PC. Nothing else. So, yeah. It's a Switch console exclusive at the very least. I mean, I don't really care regardless, if you want to be frank. If I like a game that much, I'll get it on a system. It being on Switch just appeals to me more because then I don't, you know, I can play it anywhere I want, and that's a big selling point for me. So, yeah. My Friend Pedro definitely seems interesting. And there was one more game that I, for the life of me, cannot remember. I am sorry. I will say though that, yeah, Devolver Digital brought it with their comedy, and even though they only had 3 games, at least 2 of them were big hitters, at least to me, because I can't remember the first one. And finally, of course, they ended in like a cliffhanger for the little comedy sketch, which was, I mean, it was alright. I don't typically like year-long cliffhangers. I barely tolerate it with Steven Universe. Don't make me tolerate it with you guys too. So, I give them a solid 6.5 out of 10. It was alright. It wasn't really something to write home about. Metal Wolf Chaos was pretty much their biggest announcement. And unfortunately, it wasn't coming to Switch, so it's not something I'm totally excited for. I might pick it up for PS4 if I'm very into it. But, I mean, my PS4 games for right now solely consist of Spider-Man and Jump Force. So, what can you do? Alright, and that about covers it for day 1 of E3. So, let me know what you guys thought about these conferences. If you want, you can throw in a ranking for EA too if you're into it. Like I said, I give them a 2 solely for the fact that they had Unravel 2. Everything else was garbage. Anywho, that's about it for me. I'll see you guys in day 2. Later.